Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we'll get started as soon as courtroom 2 joins us.
How y'all doing today?
Good afternoon. Hope you're well. Are you ready for me to give the announcement?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We are allowing the public defender to represent you this afternoon if you choose to utilize their service. Let's see, who do we have first?
Yeah, number 12, Ms. Gruger.
Yes.
Come on, say everything that's yours.
Good afternoon, Ms. Gruger. You have been charged in case 25 CR 002067F with driving under the influence of alcohol, less safe, and improper erratic lane change. Who do we have from pretrial this afternoon?
It's me, Miss Bostic, Judge.
Ms. Boston, good afternoon. Does Ms. Gruger have a history?
Yes, Judge, in regards to Miss Kruger, she has one arrest out of Missouri as a DUI, 2 counts in 2015. She has a FTA on her booking. And 2 cycles out of Georgia, a DUI reduced to reckless driving in 2012. And then there's an open case in Fulton for hit and run, duty for driver to stop or return to scene, 23 CR 007787F. Nothing further.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Dunlap.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident date is from April 19th, 2025. It was a stop conducted at East Morton Road / Chessington Avenue. Officers were called to a single car accident. Officers made contact with the defendant, who stated she was coming from a Kroger on her way home. They asked her if she was drinking. She said she wasn't. They observed her speech was slurred. She had bloodshot and watery eyes along with droopy eyelid and smelled of the odor of alcoholic beverages. They asked her to do a sobriety test, which she ended up falling down, and to do a breath sample, which she also failed. Officer ended up arresting her. The state is looking for a split bond on this case, $500 on the driving with improper lane change for a signature bond through pretrial, $3K on the DUI as a surety since she has 2 previous DUI convictions, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Ty. Hope you're well.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Miss Gruger is 53 years old. She has lived in Georgia since 1992. She lives with her husband in the same home since 2018. I understand that she has limited history, Your Honor, and she does have the FTA. I did look into that. She stated that she never received notice. The notice was sent to an incorrect mailing address. And she knows that she's on that a bond forfeiture calendar on April 23rd. In that case, I don't know if you would address the $5,000 surety bond on the FTA, because that is part of what's holding her in custody. But since it was sent to the wrong mailing address, I would ask for that bond to be reduced to a signature bond, Your Honor. And I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services on both charges for a $3,500 signature bond through pretrial services.
Okay, I can't address the FTA at this time, but for the improper lane change, it will be a $500 good bond. For the DUI, it will be a $1,500 good bond, makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Gruger.
Next we have number 18, Ms. Porter.
Good afternoon, Ms. Porter. You have been charged in case 25 CR 002063H with 2 counts of reckless conduct. Is there a history? Ms. Bostic?
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry. Judge, in regards to Miss Porter, her last arrest was in 2011 for probation violation out of Jefferson. Her no conviction. There was a sealed first offender from '08. Financial ID sealed in 2016. Nothing further.
Thank you. Who's presenting from the state?
Your Honor, just give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Was having a computer freezing issue.
Okay, good
Pamela
afternoon.
Westman for the state. Miss Porter, the date of the offense was April 20th, and it was at 106 Truman Avenue in Atlanta. There are some co-defendants in this case as well. But for as far as Miss Porter, her husband was in an altercation with the neighbors. And when she saw that, she went inside to grab a gun. When officers asked her when they got there if there was a gun, she said no, and later went in to retrieve it and was taken into custody. But what had happened was when the neighbors were firing, she fired the gun into the air. And so that's why she was arrested. She does have 5 arrests prior, as was mentioned, guilty of driving with license suspended, financial ID fraud. She had a first offense interference with a custody case that was dismissed in a probation violation. The state is asking for a $2,000 surety bond and no further contact with Jamarcus Smith or Shantae Smith, who are the neighbors. Stay away from from their home as much as possible, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Ms. McCall, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I represent Ms. Porter, and I would be asking for a signature bond for my client today. Your Honor, my understanding is that my client witnessed her husband being beaten by the neighbors. In fact, he suffered a broken bone based on this beating, and she fired her gun just to scare them off because she didn't know what else to do. She was pretty traumatized about the whole thing. This seems to have been an issue with the neighbors, but when they physically assaulted her husband, they had him on the ground and broke a bone in his thumb. She was just trying to defend her spouse. Of course, she's okay with no further contact with these people, but the court has to bear in mind that they actually are neighbors. The houses are beside each other. We are okay with them staying on their own property and my client and her husband being able to stay on theirs. But I think under the circumstances, a signature bond for her, as she has no significant or recent criminal history. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, for each charge will be a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with the alleged victims, stay away from their residence, relinquish all firearms, no drugs, alcohol, weapons. Good luck to you, Ms. Porter.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Number 19, Ms. Price. Last call.
Tell me again what time this is position.
19.
Ms. Price, okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Price. You have been charged in case 25 CR 002081F with 2 counts of battery. Is there a history, Ms. Bostic?
Judge, in regards to Ms. Price, only prior arrest was a 2021 theft by shoplifting, no disposition. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Westman?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the victim, Lacey Brackett, and her husband were repossessing the defendant's car because the defendant was late on a payment. The defendant was notified by text and, in fact, responded to the text. While leaving the home, Miss Brackett noticed that they were being followed by a car. That car was later identified as the defendant's car and rammed into them 4 different times. Miss Brackett pulled into a gas station at 3843 Jonesboro Road and the defendant pulled in right after her. He ran up to the car, pulled open her door, tried to get her out, grabbed her and scratched her and pulled some of her hair out. There's a lot of hair missing from her head, and it was bleeding. The defendant does have a shoplifting with the time was expired. This is in 21. But based on the gravity of what happened, the notification, as well as the violent manner and hitting the car and pulling her out and hitting her there too, we are going to ask for a $3,000 surety bond and no further contact with the victim, stay away order from her home and the workplace. I don't have those addresses. This happened at a gas station, as mentioned. No alcohol, drugs, or weapon, and anger management. At this point, we would sound for the victim, Lacey Brackett.
Ms. Brackett is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Ms. Brackett, if you choose to address the court, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me, please, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can place your hand down, Ms. Brackett. What would you like to tell the court?
I would just like to ask that she is not able to come anywhere near the car dealership or myself. So that's one thing I just want to make sure.
Okay, Ms. Brackett, if you would like to put the address of the car dealership in the chat for us, I'm happy to place that in the order. Also, where you would like for her to stay away from, if you would like from the residence, if you'll place that into the chat as well, I'll place that on my order. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yes, Ms. Atai.
Yes, Your Honor. My client denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. As you heard, this is only her second arrest. The first was in 2021. She has no convictions on her record. She has no violent history at all, hardly any history. She believed that her car was being stolen. I believe there are regulations about how a car should be repossessed, and certainly this does not sound like the complaining witness or whoever was in charge of repossessing the car was acting within those regulations, Your Honor. And again, she does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. Due to her very limited criminal history, I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services. She is recommended for a UJR at level 1.
Okay, for each charge will be a Ms. Brackett, we're not here today to, and I'm happy to let you speak, but this is only a bond hearing. At some later date, we will address the merits of the case. If you have something more that you'd like to say about bond, I'm happy to hear you on that. But if it's about the merits, you'll have your opportunity at a later time,
No
Ms. Brackett.
problem. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. For each charge will be a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. It makes for a total of a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1-day anger awareness. No further contact with Ms. Brackett. Stay away from her residence and work addresses. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Price. You as well, Ms. Brackett.
23, Ms. Stokes.
Okay.
Yeah, see what you need anyway.
Good afternoon, Ms. Stoltz. You have been charged in case 25 CR 002066A with battery family violence and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Bostic?
No prior arrest history, Judge. If you choose to release her, we suggest UJR jail. Nothing further.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Harrison.
Good afternoon, Judge. This incident occurred on April 19th, 2025. The location is 700 Old Holcomb, Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell, Georgia. Officers were dispatched to the incident location is 141 Clare Drive. Officers were dispatched to the incident location in reference to a fight in progress. Upon arrival at the scene, they spoke with Mr. Ryan Stoltz, which is the victim in this case, and he stated that Mrs. Stoltz is his wife. They presently reside together. They've been arguing for a while, and this particular day, he was playing his records when the defendant unplugged the cord from the wall. As he tried to replug the cord, she grabbed his forearm and shoved him 3 times. This resulted in visible scratches to his forearms. Yeah, he also expressed concern to officers that this has happened multiple times. We did speak to Mr. Stoltz. He is present on Zoom today, so we'd like to sound for him when appropriate. The state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 on each charge. We're asking for no contact with the victim and for the defendant to complete family violence intervention program. We're also wanting to implement the conditions of no alcohol, drugs, or firearms while out on bond.
Good afternoon, Mr. Stoltz. If you would like to address the court this afternoon, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me, please, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you, sir. What would you like to tell the court?
There is no prior history of her being violent to me that might have been something taken out of context during what was obviously a stressful time when I was giving a police report. It's no secret we have argued, but she has never hit me before. She has never been physically violent before with me or with anyone else that I've ever seen. No contact is not what I want. I'd like her to return home. I'd like the charges dropped. I don't want to pursue this any further. It's not necessary. She's got a long, long history as a teacher of very small children. She's got a long history now of being a very good mother with no violent tendencies, no violent displays at all. This is a one-time situation that escalated to the point where it was out of control. And I recognize that. I don't want any further anything to happen. I'd like her to come home. I'd like for us to be together. And I'd like for this to be something that we can move past and forget.
Thank you for being here this afternoon, Mr. Stoltz.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Ty.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 41 years old. She is a Georgia resident. She has worked at the same preschool as a teacher for the last 7 years. She has absolutely no criminal history. This is her first arrest. I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services at level 1. And of course, I object to the family violence intervention program at this stage.
Okay, for the battery.
Sorry, no violent contact and no stay away, Your Honor.
Okay. For the battery, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. With a simple battery, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. Stoltz, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you both, Mr. and Ms. Stoltz.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Milton. How you doing, everybody?
Afternoon, Officer Milton.
Good afternoon. So before you is position 27, Miss White.
And let me address all the young ladies that are there. Good afternoon. I am Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their service. Ms. White, you have been charged in case 25 CR 00270D with disorderly conduct and one additional misdemeanor offense. Is there a history? Spostic?
Judge, in regards to Chantel White, Tennessee 2 cycles, FTA in 17, 13 cycles in Georgia, FTA in 22, public drunk criminal trespass in 19 and 14. There's an open case for criminal trespass out of DeKalb and an open case for public drunkenness out of DeKalb. Nothing further.
Yes, Ms. Harrison.
Well, Your Honor, for the charges, do you want to go off of Zoom for one of the charges? I don't know how you want to proceed before we jump right in.
Let's see. Who's representing Ms.
I
White
am.
this afternoon?
Sorry,
Mr.
I
Todd?
am, Your Honor. Yes, I
Okay.
would like to request a breakout for this case.
Okay. Can we just go off the YouTube, Ms. Mr. Ty, which is how we normally do it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, or you can,
Okay. Okay, so if we can go off the